Morning, Sully. How are you?
Pretty good, man. Y'all tanned up from the trip to Arizona?
Yeah, it was definitely a little bit nicer than it is here.
So how did that all come about? You guys were out there for, what, a week or so?
Yeah, we were out there for about a week. It was actually a 2-year process of trying to figure that out. I kind of got an itch about two years ago in Orlando that I didn't want to do Disney again, so I kind of floated it out to my staff, and everybody was kind of laughing at me that we shouldn't go somewhere else because they do a great job down there with that trip. And then we actually won a game last year against a team from the north, and I wasn't thrilled with two teams that are both in the same boat, both haven't played. I wanted to play some better competition, so
right.
that night in Orlando, I just immediately made the decision we're not going here anymore. So it took about a year to figure it out.
Now, what kind of what was the event like out there in Arizona? Was it a tournament or something, or you just went there and played some local high school teams? How did that work out?
No, it was just played some local high school teams out there. Actually, what ended up happening was I picked out some high schools in the area of the airport in Phoenix. So I kind of cold emailed about 20 different schools, and then one got back to me, and then this guy said, call this guy. So it was a lot of phone calls and emails, and then all of a sudden it just started coming together with who we were going to play, and there was a guy named Matt Denny out there that kind of really coordinated everything for me.
That's awesome.
And it all kind of came together, and everybody was nice out there, and got to play a lot of nice competition. So it's good for the kids.
What was the players' reactions when you told them, hey, in 2017 we're off to Arizona?
Well, to be honest with you, I actually, as excited as I was for it, I actually gave the entire program. We had a meeting last June, and I actually had to plan, I guess I did like 5 trips, a couple to Florida. I planned the Myrtle trip, and I actually have some other Western ideas in mind also, aside from Arizona. So I put all those together, and then we actually just had a meeting with the parents and the kids, and I said, you guys have 3 days to email me back what you're interested in, where you want to go. And I was hoping for Arizona, but it actually got voted on by the team that's what they wanted to do. So it was actually a lot of support from a lot of good people in our program. Our parents have been great in allowing us to take their kids every year.
That's awesome, man. Did you get to see any minor league baseball while you were out there?
We actually were fortunate enough. Mike Edwards and Roy at Hallenbach and Kenny Williams at Millville, we actually made contact with them early and let them know we were going. They put us in contact with the Angels PR director, and then we actually the kids got to meet Mike Trout out there.
Oh, really?
And they saw an Angels game. So they didn't know that. We actually didn't tell them, and the Millville guys were super in helping us out with all that. So we actually, of course, had a meeting to see his batting practice in like an empty stadium, and of course that day's game went to extra innings. So we actually were running late to it. So he was gracious enough to kind of come out in the hallway out of the locker room. The kids had no idea till we were there. And then as they were leaving the players' locker room, the kids actually bumped into Albert Pujols too. So it was a really cool experience for the guys.
So what was their reaction to meeting Trout? I mean, guys like you and I, we remember him from high school, and it doesn't seem like that big of a deal to us because we've kind of known him throughout the years. But when you think about it, in 2009, these kids were like 8 years old.
Yeah, it was it was cool to see because they knew we were going to the game because it was on the itinerary. And then we got to the stadium. I kind of still didn't say anything. We went and picked up our tickets, and then when they realized we were kind of going to this like media and players table outside the stadium, I had to hand out these stickers for the kids to get in.
Uh-huh.
And I said to them, "Hey, by the way, we're going to go watch batting practice on the field." And then I think they started putting it together that something cool was going to happen. So it was kind of nice to see their faces kind of light up and be excited, and kind of see the kind of impact that Mike has on young athletes and young players, because you just can't really find anybody who has a bad thing to say about him. And he does a nice job staying connected to New Jersey.
I can't imagine what it's like for a 16-year-old kid to meet him. I mean, I remember him from high school as being, 6 foot, 175. He was your average high school player in terms of size, and now he's 230 pounds. Probably looks like an NFL linebacker to these kids.
Well, it's funny you say that because it's not. I mean, the Tempe Stadium where the Diablos play, it's not like a big luxury place. So when we went down to meet them, they took us through the players' parking lot. It's kind of right outside the locker room, and it's not a big space. It's not like a pro stadium. So when he kind of came down the hallway, he takes up the whole room and the whole hallway, and he that's kind of the first reaction all the kids had. He was how big he was and how he looked like a football player.
So they were kind of starstruck, like a freshman girl looks at the varsity quarterback, right?
Well, I kept telling them, and I guess it's just the high school kids now. Nobody would put their phone away. Nobody would stop videoing him and Snapchatting him and taking his picture. And even as they were waiting for him, they're all holding up phones. They all look like paparazzi. I had to tell them they all look ridiculous. There was an Angels guy there with us to take pictures for us.
Oh, okay.
They couldn't put their phones away.
Right. That's cool of Mike. I mean, he's such a great kid, and he really does so much to promote the game here in South Jersey. What was your interaction with him? I guess you probably remember him from when he was a high school player, right?
Yeah, I coached basketball against him and baseball back then. So that all aside, I mean, I guess everybody has their story or their I know Mike Trout from this. I don't really have a relationship with him from back then, and it's really I can't thank the Millville guys enough for everything they did to make this happen for our program. They're really, really good friends, and in the baseball community around here, in terms of the coaches, it really has a nice bond with one another. So they really set it all up. And in terms of our interaction, it was real quick out there because he had a game in like 20 minutes. It was like,
okay.
He was doing us a favor. He had his jersey on. He actually had his bat in his hand still when he came into the hallway. So it wasn't like a big sit down. It was really brief, but the kids appreciated that. Any time he could give, because I'm sure the requests that he gets are kind of pulled in all directions.
Now, what were the guys' reaction like after he left that room? They must have been like a bunch of 12-year-old girls at a Justin Timberlake concert or something.
Well, they were psyched, and then it was just strange how it happened. We all turned around and walked towards the parking lot, and out of another kind of side garage, Pujols kind of bumped into our kids. And I was all behind them. And then, of course, they surrounded him, and he couldn't move. He had a bat in his hand, too. He was heading to the batting cage out in the parking lot. And so I'm kind of watching them, and they're holding up their phones, taking selfies with Albert Pujols, and I'm just kind of shaking my head like, this guy probably wishes he would have got to the cages a little bit earlier. But the Angels guy that was there was nice enough to kind of, and Pujols said, he actually said kind of put the phones down, let's take a group shot, and the guy took a huge team picture with Pujols as well. So
see, that's really nice. That's her veteran move right there. Hey, let's take a group shot so I can get the heck out of here. Go take some BP.
Yeah, so, I mean it was great, and we got to tour Chase Field out there, and it was really, really nice to see kind of how close all the stadiums are. And if anybody gets a chance to do it, the Cactus League is awesome out there, how close everything is and how great the weather is.
We're talking with Billy Kern, baseball coach over at Mainland Regional. Coach, what's your team outlook this year? I mean, you guys are a couple years removed now from that state championship. You had a real tough loss last year to Ocean City in the state playoffs. These guys are guys that kind of came up when you guys were winning that state championship, but weren't really a part of that, not too many of them. But a lot of these guys have some great experience from the Atlantic Shore Babe Ruth team, so they've been in big games before.
Yeah, it's a nice group. It's a good mix of seniors, juniors, sophomores. We've never really had a kind of a team spread out with this much depth and this much competition at positions. We've actually used a ton of different starting lineups throughout our preseason, just kind of trying to figure out where everybody fits. Our pitching staff is close to as good as it's been in the last couple of years, even in 14 and 15 when we had that success. And again, only because of the depth. We have 4 or 5 guys that can really throw the ball, and a couple seniors leadership on the mound, and then also we'll throw a couple sophomores out on the mound this year too. So it's nice to have depth, and it's nice to have competition at practice. Nobody kind of rests on on their laurels and on their positions, and it's nice that we can kind of get after the kids and challenge them every day. That no position's safe, and then you got to earn everything.
And it's great now with the strength of South Jersey baseball, particularly the Cape Atlantic League. I mean, there's some quality teams out there. Ocean City, Buna, Prep. I mean, there's not too many games where you can kind of take it easy, and that's got to be great as a coach. You know, you can keep these guys excited every day of the season.
Yeah, I was looking at my schedule the other day. Somebody was asking me, what's it? One of my buddies at school, what's it look like with wins, losses? Who do you like? Who can you get some guys in? And I was like, there's none. Look at the schedule. Everybody has a good arm, and everybody's pretty deep in our league, and you see it every year. No win or loss kind of surprises me anymore because everybody does such a good job too out there with developing pitchers, and so really no lead safe also because it's just high school baseball. Yeah. We actually out there in some of these scrimmages, we gave away a 5-run lead in the 7th inning. That was the day that we went to extra inning, and then the next night scored 7 in the 7th to win a game. So it's high school baseball.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, kids walk people, and then an error happens, and then a double, and all of a sudden, what you thought was a comfortable win is a loss, and vice versa.
Good stuff, Coach. As always, we appreciate you taking a few minutes, and we'll see you out there soon, man.
Sounds good. See you next week.
All right, bud. That was Coach Billy Kern of Mainland Baseball. We appreciate him taking a few minutes